Hey, what's up guys, it's Mike with Alpha Reptile, and today is Tuesday, which means it is Q&A Tuesday. So for those of you that have no idea what Q&A Tuesday is, it's basically where I take your questions from last Tuesday and answer them this Tuesday. So if you have any questions that you want me to answer, leave them in the comments section. I'll typically go through and pick 6 to 10 questions to answer, and they'll get answered for you. So if you want your question answered, make sure you drop it in the comment section down below for me to read and check it out. While you're down kind of in the south region of this video, you can also check out my Instagram and Facebook if you want a picture every single day in July. Go check that out as well. Without further ado, why don't we get answering your questions. The first question comes from Danielle Varela. She just commented on the video and then asked, what are some things that you wish you had known when you started Bioactive? And will you be doing an updated Aki care video one of these days? As well as, would you go Bioactive with Bowser's tank? I want to say a huge shout out to Danielle because she came out on Sunday and showed some mad love for the channel, so thank you very much. It's not something I will soon forget. I'm glad you appreciate the videos. As for your question about what I wish I knew about Bioactives before starting them, honestly, it's a very long question to answer, so I'm not going to fully answer it in this video. I'm going to recommend something for you. This book right here is what I wish I would have read before doing Bioactives. It goes through setup, cleanup crew, maintenance, everything that you need to know about Bioactives and how to take care of them. This book was written by somebody that I consider a good friend, even though I've never met him in real life. He's shown me nothing but love, and he's a great, extremely knowledgeable scientist, and his name's John Courtney Smith, and he is the author of pretty much all of Arcadia's books, so I strongly recommend you pick this one up. He has a couple more dropping in not too long, so get through these and his other books before the new ones come out. And just on a side note, no, I was not paid to say that. That is from the bottom of my heart. Next question comes from Roger Workman. Great video, thank you. I was wondering if you can feed a crested gecko too many insects. To answer your question, I would say yes. You can certainly make them obese and overfeed them with too many insects. So I would stick to mostly their prepared diet, like the crested gecko diet, whether it's Pangea, Rapashi, Arcadia, whatever you're giving to it, that's totally up to you. But I would stick with that as a kind of staple diet, and then go for insects, especially when they're young, because the insect protein really helps them grow quickly, and then as they get older, you can offer it less and less. I offer TIG crickets or live insects only a couple times a month, and as you guys have seen, she is definitely a chunky girl, so that is something that I would be aware of when feeding insects. Next question comes from Bobby Evans. It's kind of a long one, so bear with me. Mike, I recently got into dart frogs and based my vivarium builds off your how-tos. Thank you, man, I appreciate it. I recently saw a video when it seems you have switched from using the background mix and silicone to dry lock. That's true. What drove you to this decision? Are there any downfalls to the recent setups that I have made using silicone and background mix? That's kind of a complicated question. You guys can see it in my reptile room tours and when I'm kind of highlighting the frog tanks, but the background mix for me typically didn't stick very well. Now that's kind of unfortunate because I really like the way it looks, but the background mix that I've been using, both the Jungle Jewel and the custom made one that I made, it didn't really stick all that well, and especially in the Aratus tank, it really didn't stick very well at all. So I don't know if that's the silicone that I'm using or maybe I'm doing it wrong, but that's just my experience. If you haven't seen Troy Goldberg's channel, he has an incredible, I believe it's 180 gallon red histrionica viv, and it is fire. Like, it is so nice, and he used dry lock. It's something that is, I think it's kind of easy. It's a lot of fun applying it, and you can do so many things with it that I think it's strongly worth the investment. So I guess answering your question, the reason why I switched is because the silicone and background mix wasn't really working all that well for me, and because the dry lock is just the better option in my opinion. I think it's probably cheaper over time. Like, I've done probably 4 or 5 tanks with just one gallon bucket of it, and that would mean probably 10 to 20 tubes of silicone, several bags of background mix. It's just a whole headache. Is there anything wrong with your Vivs? I would say no. It just, I mean, share your opinion in a couple months when the frogs or whatever animal has been in it for a little while. Then that way you can kind of form your own opinion and let me know what you think of your background. So I hope that answered your question. It was kind of a long, rambly answer. Next question comes from Cody Macmillan. I've been talking to him quite a bit on Instagram, so that's another place to chat with me if you're interested. DMs on Instagram is always a good place to catch me. But any plans to do collabs with other YouTubers? I'd love seeing you get down to Florida and do something with Camp Keenan and maybe Kyle with his Crocs and Gators. It's something that I want so bad, and honestly, I might make the Patreon just kind of whatever money I get from a Patreon if I decide to make one. On a side note, if you guys think I should make a Patreon with some cool like levels for donating, let me know in the comments down below. That's my question for you guys that are kind of halfway through this video. But getting back to the video, I would say I would love to travel. Honestly, that is one of my like main goals, is to travel and do herp videos and explorations and just kind of make cool travel vlogs, because not all that many of you guys saw my Belize video, but honestly, I thought that was one of my best videos I've ever produced ever. So if you haven't seen it, make sure you go check it out. Link's up here for you guys to go explore. I would say yes, I'm definitely down to do that. Obviously, it would involve me getting in contact with Keenan and Kyle, and I might even be doing something in like the beginning of August. I don't know if Keenan or Kyle will be there, but another big YouTuber that you guys probably know. You love him or hate him, he's a good guy. So yes, I would love to travel. I just need to save some funds for it. So maybe the Patreon that may or may not happen would go to that. On another note of traveling, I do like to go in groups, and I'm not sure if my girlfriend's too down to do those kind of trips. So I just need to get a solid group of guys that can kind of drop everything and come with me. I think I have that, but we'll see in a couple weeks. Now, Jordan asks, I have any animals that I have a very big fear of? And this is going to be kind of a cliche zoologist answer to that question, but the answer is honestly no. I'm definitely not phobic of anything. Like, I definitely do not have a phobia for any animal. Really, if I was to say like one place that I kind of get antsy is like super high heights. But even still, I'm willing to like go stand on a railing and look over or whatever. But there's no real animal that I'm like petrified of, like spiders or snakes or really honestly nothing that I've ever met. Honestly, I think the scariest animal are parasites. They're kind of terrifying just because you can't see them, and sometimes you really don't know until it's too late when it comes to them. So that's something that scares me a little bit, but even still, like, I'm not running around like, ooh, I hope I don't have parasites or whatever. That's just not the way I am. And we've come down to the final question today. This comes from Keenan. Why do you prefer fire skinks or blue tongues? My answer is hands down blue tongues. My buddy has a fire skink, and while they're really cool and nice looking, from the ones that I've met, they're never all that friendly, and they're certainly not nearly as large or as cool as an adult like northern blue tongue skink that gets a good size. Typically they're super friendly, and you can just have them out at all times if you really want to. So I would say blue tongue for sure, although I do understand the argument for fire skink because they are pretty cool. But that kind of wraps up the video, you guys. I don't really have any other questions. There were a bunch more on there, but I'm just going to be picking a couple questions and answering them for you guys. So if you have any questions, like I said in the beginning of the video, make sure you leave them in the comments section. While you're down there, make sure to leave this video a like. That really does help me out. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more of this, well, this face and the beautiful reptiles that I have around me. And once you've clicked on that subscribe button, make sure to play Ding Dong Ditch with the doorbell next to it. That way you get notified every single time I go live or post a video, which, as you guys know, in the month of July is every single day. So we'll catch you in the next video tomorrow. I believe next video is going to be a greenhouse type tour of my personal greenhouse, not like a big massive greenhouse. So I hope you guys are ready for that, and for you vivarium heads, it should be a nice one. So catch you in the next video. Later.